Hi everyone, I'm Swati from India Hikes and you're watching Trek with Swati. In today's episode of the Deep Dive series, we're talking about a trek that needs no introduction. We're talking about one of the oldest, most popular and famous treks of our country, the Goichala Trek. And to talk about this trek and dive into the deepest nuances of it, I have with us the founder of India Hikes, Arjun Majumdar, who did this trek many years ago when the pass was actually accessible. And he's done this trek a couple more times, so he knows the trek very in detail. So let's talk to him about the Goichala trek and learn about the smallest details. Hi Arjun, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Swati, for calling me again.
Arjun, you were telling me recently about this very interesting history that Goichala has, about how it became popular. So tell us a little bit about this backstory of the Goichala treks.
It's not really history, Swati, but the backstory is like this. Nepal trekking was always very popular, and it still is. But around that mid-90s, there was a lot of this Maoist problem in Nepal. And a lot of fighting and all those things were going on. So trekking in Nepal kind of came to a standstill. And people from all over the world wanted to trek in that part of the world because of the obvious attractive reasons for trekking, the big mountains and things like that, and they were not getting it. So the closest trek which answered that problem was the Goichala, and it was right across the border. You could access it very easily from around that Nepal side. And you had all the trappings of a typical Nepal trek right here in our country, and that's when the Goichala trek kind of took off. Goichala trek is not a new trek, it was there even much earlier, but if you ask me the popularity of it, I would say mid-90s onwards it kind of zoomed up.
Oh, and it's left quite a bit of a legacy behind, because even now people from all over the world flock to Goichala. So tell us what works for this trek? Like, what are the few things that makes it this popular?
The most obvious and the biggest reason people come to do this trek, Swati, is for the views of Kanchenjunga. I mean, Kanchenjunga is world's third highest peak. You're seeing the entire massif of the mountain without anything in between. It's just an arm's length away. These kind of close proximity to such big mountains is just not possible in most treks. Not even in many Nepal treks. You get that in Goichala, and plus you get 13-14 other big summits to see on this trek, and they're not small summits, all some 7,000 plus, 6,000 plus meter summits, so they're all there to see. Plus another aspect of Goichala trek which really is, I think, remarkable is that this trek falls in the Kanchenjunga National Park. The biodiversity of Kanchenjunga National Park is probably one of the highest in a country, if not the highest. That level of biodiversity you don't get anywhere else. So just to be able to trek through this biodiversity and then get to see these mountains up close, I think Goichala is a dream come true for most trekkers.
That kind of seals the deal. So Arjun, most of our other treks are actually way in the west, in Uttarakhand and Himachal, Kashmir. So how is it different from Goichala, which is in Sikkim, way in the east? So are there too many differences, and what are the differences?
There are actually, coming to think of it, see, the mountains here rise very quickly. If you look at the famous mountains in this region, like take Everest, Makalu, Lhotse, or Kanchenjunga, all of these mountains rise very quickly from the ground. Because that's how the continental drift happened and the crushing of the two plates happened. So all the mountains in this region rise very quickly. So does the trek, all the mountains summits that you see from the Goichala trek. So you get to see very big mountains rising very quickly on this trek. So that's a very big difference you will notice compared to, say, a Himachal landscape, or a Uttarakhand landscape, or even a Kashmir landscape. Outside that, the culture. The culture is very different from Himachal, Uttarakhand and here. This is a culture Buddhist largely, Hinduism mixed in it, and it is very much in the heart of the trek itself. It's not like you'll see it at the base camp or something like that. You'll see it even in the culture of the people, the food that is eaten. Even on the way, you will feel the culture of the people and the behavior of the people. So that's very attractive. It's very interesting to watch this. I had mentioned earlier about the biodiversity, but this biodiversity brings in these rhododendrons. Goichala is known for rhododendrons. I mean, people come there from all over the world just to see rhododendrons on this trek. And that's a huge attraction.
So let's talk about the rhododendrons a bit, because that is a big attraction. Tell us, where do you see this on the trek, and if our trekkers want to go there and see the rhodos, what is the best time to see these?
I'll start with the best time because rhododendrons don't bloom too often. Month of April, that would be your best time. 1st of April to the end of April, maybe drag it a little bit on the first week of May, you will still get to see rhododendrons, but April is your month. There's a camp on the way which is called Bakkim. Right after Bakkim, you'll start seeing your first rhododendrons. You'll get to see the scarlet red ones. And as you keep climbing higher towards your next camp, which is Choka, which is not too far, about an hour and a half away from Bakkim, you will get to see even more. But the gem of it is after Choka. That stretch between Choka and Phedang, there's a clearing on the way to Zongri. From Choka to Zongri, there's a clearing called Phedang, which is kind of midway. That stretch between 9,000 feet and 11,000 feet, that is your rhododendron belt. And it's not a small stretch. It's easily 2-3 hours, even more for most trekkers. And it goes on and on and on, and all the way you see rhododendrons. You start with the scarlet ones, you see the pink ones, you see the yellow ones, you see the white ones. There are stretches where the rhododendrons, and the entire stretch is almost like a tunnel. It's a rhododendron trees with tunnel. Light comes in through the trees and they diffuse in color, and you get the colors of rhododendrons as you're walking. These kind of sights you don't get to see anywhere. And even if you are trekking on this trek without the rhododendrons, even that canopy of trees that you get to see, that rhododendron canopy I've never seen on any other trek. It's almost like you're going through a tunnel of rhododendron trees. These are very old trees, very ancient trees, easily 500-600 years old, if not more. I mean, that is remarkable.
As you mentioned, you see mountains, not only Kanchenjunga, but a lot of other mountains on this trek. So can you tell us where do you get the best mountain views from? Like, which sections should trekkers actually watch out for when it comes to mountains?
I think it's very easy on this. The best, probably the mountain views is from Zongri top, which is kind of midway on the trek and not really towards the end. Of course, on the end, when you go, there's a place called Viewpoint 1 where people go. You get this super view of Mount Kanchenjunga, Goicha Peak and all that. But if you ask me, the real mountain views are from Zongri top, because you not only get to see Kanchenjunga, you get to see all these other summits that I was talking about. You stand on top of Zongri top. You must time it for early in the morning, because that's when the sunrise is happening. And if you're there at the correct time, you will get to see a spectacular sunrise happening on all the summits. But more than that, you will get to see the Kanchenjunga, the Pandim, Kabru Dome, Kabru North, Kabru South, Rathong, the Kumbhakarna peak, which is again a magnificent peak on its own. So 13-14 other summits that you will get to see. Trekkers stand enthralled. I mean, you can spend 2 hours over there and still not get tired of this view. So it's a fantastic view.
So you just mentioned a little bit here just now that trekkers actually go there to get a sunrise view. That's when you should time it. So I want to dive a little deeper into timing your trek to Goichala, not only in terms of the year, but also when you're on the trek, how do you time your trek so that you see the best mountain views?
So if you have to time this thing, it must be early morning. To take in this Kanchenjunga view and all these views from Zongri, you must ensure that you're on Zongri summit by 5 in the morning, no later than that. So it's not going to trouble you so much, because Zongri summit is not too far away from the Zongri camp, an hour and a half for most trekkers. So leave at around 3:34, you will be there by 5. The same thing applies when you are going to Viewpoint 1. Now you go to Viewpoint 1 from a camp called Lamuna, which is quite a distance away. But you must reach Viewpoint 1 by 5 o'clock and no later than that, because that's when you will see the night turning into dawn, dawn turning into day, and you'll see the sunrise coming into Kanchenjunga and the other summits over there. So it's a view worth going for. So you have to backtrack your timing, look at your pace. So you may leave Lamune camp at maybe 2:30 in the night, depending on your pace, to ensure that you're there at 5.
Okay, I think that sunrise is absolutely worth it. I have seen pictures of trekkers breaking down, looking at Kanchenjunga from viewpoint 1. Now here I want to ask you one thing. Goichala, the pass itself is not accessible anymore. When you did the trek, of course, the pass was accessible. Now trekkers can go only until viewpoint 1. So do you think they're missing out on a lot, or does viewpoint 1 still give them that feeling of seeing Kanchenjunga at a close range?
This is a difficult question. I think they're missing out. See, the trek from viewpoint 1 to Goichala is magnificent. You come down on a sandy, kind of a long stretch of land. You climb up a moraine, then you get this Goichala lake, which is on your left hand side, which is a very big lake and it's very green in color, turquoise green in color. You miss that view, and then you get to the pass and the Kanchenjunga is even closer. So all these, that great adventure, the seeing the Zemathang Glacier over there, all these trekkers do miss out. But if you ask me from the view as such, the Kanchenjunga view if you're talking about, then viewpoint 1 and Goichala view, yes, proximity is closer. But other than that, you're not missing out too much. But the adventure and thrill of doing that, yes, that's definitely a miss. See, there's a reason why the trek has been shortened to viewpoint 1. I don't know the real reason. Of course, the Kanchenjunga National Park say that because of pollution on the trail and because of littering, they have shortened it. But I notice a very practical reason also. See, camping at Samiti is no longer possible. I camped on the Samiti lake, but now nobody can camp at the Samiti lake. So from Lamune going all the way to the Goichala pass requires a very big effort. And getting there, and mind you, this timing still stands, 5 o'clock at viewpoint 1, 7 or so at the pass, and then returning back, it gets extremely tiring for most trekkers. So in a way, it is better now that it is only up to viewpoint 1, so that that mental tension of going all that way and that physical exertion that comes going all the way to Goichala is now avoided. Yes, there is some loss, but I feel it is okay.
Okay, so now that you brought up Samiti Lake, I want to ask you about the Samiti Lake itself. That, from what I know, is a lake that's very close to your heart, and that is an experience in itself. So tell us a little bit about Samiti Lake.
See, Swati, on the eastern part of our country, you don't really get to see alpine lakes too much. You will get to see them in Kashmir and Himachal and Uttarakhand, but not this much, not this beautiful a lake as Samiti Lake. So a lake on a trek is always attractive, and Samiti Lake is so beautiful. Almost at around 14,000 feet you have this lake, absolutely turquoise blue in color. You go to the shores of the lake, you can see right up to 10-12 feet deep into the water, absolutely swimming pool, clear water. Huge lake. The entire Mount Pandim starts from the edges of the lake, and you can see the entire reflection of the mountain on that lake. Bird life around the lake. I have not seen absolutely deep blue color birds hopping around the shores of the lake. And that's a fantastic sight. When I went there, I was able to see a bird which is, I don't know what that bird was, but huge orange, that color, orange color bird, duck family obviously, because they had that webbed feet. But neither was it a pelican nor was it a albatross, I don't know, but a huge bird. I'm just sitting and nesting in that small kind of a rocky outcrop within that Samiti Lake. When I went closer, that's when they flew off, and I saw how gigantic they were. And of course, later on, I've heard other trekkers also talking about this bird. So all in all, and Samiti Lake surrounded in this setting of cauldron of mountains. It's one of the most fantastic scenes you'll ever see in mountain trekking.
Wow! And you actually camped there?
I was able to camp there, but people no longer can camp there.
Okay, so can you actually go around the lake? Even now, can trekkers actually take time around the lake?
Yes, of course, and trekkers must do that. You can actually do a full parikrama of the lake. You can go all around the lake. And once you have finished your viewpoint 1 and you've had those exciting views of Kanchenjunga, you must come back and spend at least an hour or two at the lake, if not more. the lake keeps changing, the colors keep changing, the birds keep coming and going, and that entire mountain setting, it takes time to sink in. So absolutely you must spend time. It's one of the most romantic places you'll ever come across.
So I think that's something trekkers must make note of. Go to Samiti Lake, spend time there after coming back from Viewpoint 1. But Arjun, I'm going to ask you now something that not many trekkers know about, which is actually the bird life and the flora fauna on this trek. So what are few of the things that trekkers must actually keep an eye out for on this Goichala trek? What animals or what flowers?
So remember a few minutes ago I was telling you, Swati, about the biodiversity of this trek, and it falls under the Kanchenjunga National Park and it's one of the richest in our country. That's how you get the birds. If you are a birder and if you like seeing birds, then Goichala is the trek for you. The variety of birds, see, I'm not a birder, but I easily saw 20-30 variety. And if you're a birder and you can see through the trees and you have those cameras, you will see even more, at least 40-50 variety easily. And we have had a pro trekkers who have gone there with the cameras and they have come back with such beautiful shots of these birds, birds which we have never seen in our life, the colors that we have never seen in our life, the looks of them that we have never seen. So I think just for this biodiversity of birds, you must get to do this. And of course the changing vegetation, right from Yuksam. See, Yuksam is a low camp, 5,500 feet, and you're climbing to about 14,000-15,000 feet. So entire, all the way, the vegetation keeps changing, and that's a very unique thing to see. Mixed forest, then a kind of oak forest, and it's rhododendron forest, and it keeps going. So this is a terrific forests that you have on this trek. Birds keep changing from the lower camp to the higher camp and things like that. All the way up to Samiti, you'll see birds on this trek. So yeah, for these reasons, it's terrific.
Very rare to see birds all the way to 14,000 feet. So now I want to ask you a little bit about the realities on the Goichala trek. Goichala is popular, but it's not a very easy trek. So tell us, what are the difficulties of this trek?
Again, Swati, I had mentioned that here mountains rise very quickly. The Goichala trek as well rises very quickly. So even the Yuksam is around 5,500 feet high, you are climbing very rapidly on the trek. So your first camp is around Bhakim, which is around 8,500 feet. Your Choka, your Zongri, and this is absolutely an altitude sickness prone trek, and most of it happens in that stretch between say the Choka and Zongri, because you're suddenly at 13,000 feet. It is hardly day 2 or day 3 depending on your itinerary. That's why we always tell trekkers, take a day's break at Zongri. We have it in our itinerary, but anyone who's doing this trek, I would strongly recommend to take a day's break at Zongri, because the escape route from Zongri is easier. Anything happens to you, you're feeling funny, you can get out very easily, but not when you get in. Exit is very difficult from other camps, and Goichala is one of those treks in our entire list of treks which is very, very prone to altitude sickness.
Now that we've heard all about the birds and the biodiversity of the region, I have a slightly personal question to ask about your favorite campsite on this trek.
Swati, you've asked me a very bad question. Goichala doesn't really have very good campsites.
Okay.
In fact, in most of the campsites, you're jostling for space. You start with the Bhakim. Hardly any space, it's actually on a ledge. Some trekkers tend to break the trek down to, say, Sachin. Sachin is also very crowded, not a very nice campsite. Choka is a kind of a trekker's hut. You have a very small camping ground. You move ahead through Zongri, again Zongri, around Zongri. They're not any great campsite. The only good campsite is Thansing. And Thansing kind of makes up for all these campsites where it is right in the middle of this glacial valley. And it's big, wide open spaces, mountain views from all sides. So yeah, Thansing, I would say, is the only good campsite, but I was not too impressed by the campsites on the Goichala trek. We have seen better.
If somebody is going on the Goichala trek in Sikkim, I want a few of your concluding thoughts on what are few of the things that they must never miss out on when they're trekking to Goichala.
See, I had told you about the culture part. The culture is very strong on this trek, and trekkers must not miss on this. Especially, see, Yuksam has a very good monastery to go to. It's one of those rare base camps where you have other things to see. And Yuksam was the older state capital of Sikkim before Gangtok became. So Yuksam has a lot of tradition. So take a look at the monastery. Even on the trek at Choka, there's a monastery. Take a look over there. The food experience is very, very good. The Tibetan bread, the thuppas, the local beer, which I won't recommend that, but that's something again which it's known for. It's known for the culture of the people over there, how they kind of mingle and mix with you. Look out for yaks. You don't see yaks on most treks. You will see, I wouldn't call them yaks, but they're zemus, which is a hybrid of yak and cows. But again, large animals with a lot of fur. You will not see it on this thing, but they'll be carrying your stuff, so you'll get to.
They are the pack animals.
They are usually the pack animals. You'll get to see lots of them. So again, all these aspects make this trek a very, very unique experience.
Thanks a lot, Arjun. I think that was very insightful about the Goichala trek. We've learned a lot about the entire trek. So thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thank you, Swati.
That was Arjun Majumdar, the founder of India Hikes. He just took us through the entire Goichala trek, right from the rhododendrons in the forests to the big mountain views and the local culture of trekking in Sikkim itself. If you have any questions about trekking to Goichala, drop in a comment below. We'll get back to you. You could also write to me on tws@indiahikes.com. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, and here on YouTube with the subscribe button and the bell icon next to it. That way you'll be notified of any more such videos we make about Goichala or any other trek in the Himalayas. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back with more. I'm Swati from India Hikes and you're watching Trek with Swati.